Hello everybody and welcome to Cadwell Park for the third round of your Simraceway 2011 World Touring Car Championship. A third manufacturer is added into the mix today, and with the Chevrolet, Seats and the BMWs, the radio coverage should be fantastic. Apologies for no video, but we are away and I'll do my best to keep you informed as to all the goings on around the circuit. It's been a terrible start there for Andy Bob and his Chevrolet. He's dropped down to P6, I believe, as the field swarmed down in towards the first corner. Very tight apex through there. A couple of spoilers already making their way across the apex as the cars will jostle for position, especially the ones that are going to suffer here are the BMWs and the Chevys. Very big, wide cars. The nimble Seats will be much better suited to the Cadwell circuit, and that's been demonstrated already at the front. It's Alex Jusian Seat leading from SPM WTTN1, so rename there for WTTN. Then it's Noddy Racer's Chevy. Then we've got Master Rocco Seat. Then RK8 or RK98's BMW. Then the Chevy of Kobayashi 10, and a whole jumble of cars making their way through the right-hander, the long right-hander. You can see as they make their way through the mid part of the circuit. Just over a minute into the lap, and Noddy Racer challenging now WTTN1. Although unfortunately it hasn't really gone to plan. And have to try and mount the assault, making his way down to the very back end of this circuit. It's a very difficult place to get right, Cadwell Park, and we'll soon discover that as the session goes on. Obviously, the circuit renowned for its rounds of the British Superbike Championship, which explains why it's so narrow and all of that. And you can see already the amount of jumps these cars have to go for. It really is a very, very tricky piece of tarmac to endure. Of course, making your way down to the end of it, you come out of Barn Corner. You've got the tricky little hairpin, but down the main straight towards the end of the first lap they come. And it is Alex Jusian that leads his way into the second time, going into Coppit's out of 14. So it's Seat from Seat, Chevy in third with Noddy Racer, Master Rocco fourth, then RK98 and Kobayashi, Rob Nitro in P7, Dimitri in 8th, Yardstick 9th, Jim Wally 10th, Tiptoe 11th, Andy Bob 12th, Sherback in 13th, and I believe that's Sharon there at 14th, pulling into the pit lane. So BMW pulling into the pits at the end of the first lap, so not been an ideal lap there for him. By the way, we've got some mighty fine action as the drivers make their way out of Chris Curve down in towards the gooseneck now, and you can see why it's called the gooseneck, as it just thins really quickly as you dive through it, then opens back out again as you make your way going down in towards Nansfield Corner. But it is such a tricky corner. I think the driver's starting to learn that anyway. Down in towards the mountain they'll come. Chatron's going to drive through penalty. Now it's interesting, he was in the pits a minute ago, so I think he's not happy about something, but we'll wait and see if there are any later controversies surrounding him. But it's still Alex Jusian that leads as he makes his way down now, going in through the Hall bends, which are those very tricky rights and lefts as you go through this deep elevation change, out of the hairpin at turn 17, and then Barn at turn number 18. So out he comes. He's got himself about a 2.6 second advantage now as he goes over the start-finish line. Don't forget, we've still got the big double header coming a bit later as well. So that is the 900 to 1100 A race. So you've got a whopping tally of races coming up for you. 4 more, including this one. SPM WTTN1 in third, Master Rocco fourth, then it's RK. Kobayashi still in sixth in the Chevrolet at the moment. And taking a ride on board, you can see just how much effort he's putting into making his way through. The drivers make their way up through down the park straight now. Very, very ideal place to slipstream into turn 4, also known as Park That One, before coming out of Chris Curve. Very tight apex as well. And that Chevy's not going to be able to pull alongside the BMW. This one all about pace and consistency. You cannot make a mistake here at Cadwell. It's almost like you're walking on a tightrope through this circuit, and the driver's very much aware of that. And they dive down now into the gooseneck out of Mansfield. And it's been a very intriguing first 2.5 laps or so off the race. No one's really been able to mount a challenge to Alex Jusian. He's really pulled away at the very forefront of the action. Noddy Racer in second now, about 3 seconds behind. WTTN in third. Fourth place, Master Rocco. 2 Seats battling just behind us. 8th and 9th is Dimitri in 8th. Yardstick in 9th. As they go through the Hall bends and lose a bit of traction, it seems, through there. They weren't exactly looking like they're on top of the world. There's some real work going into driving these Seats right now. But down the main straight to start yet another lap. So through they go. 1 minute 30 that time for Yardstick in 8th. In comparison, it's a 1:29.9 for Alex Eugen at the moment. Alex, Noddy, WTTN, Master Rocco, and RK98 are your top 5 at the moment, with Kobayashi and Rob Nitro just behind. I'll tell you what, the midfield really starting to heat up now as Rob and Kobayashi look to try and maybe close up on the BMW in front of them of RK98, but they are both struggling for grip, it seems, as they dive down through Mansfield corner again. But all very, very tightly knit in that midfield right now, from all the way from 3rd place, really, down to about 8th place. There's only about 6 or 7 seconds separating those drivers, so very, very close racing, which is what you expect here at Cadwell. Overtaking very limited, and Kobayashi definitely finding that out as he's stuck behind RK98's BMW. Oh, and I think RK98 got a bit of a poor run going out to the final corner. And Kobayashi now to the inside. Can he try, or be on the outside actually, as they go through Charlie's corner? And he has to back out of that extremely sensibly. That would have only ended in tears, that's for sure. But either way, it's the first real opportunity that Chevrolet's had at overtaking the BMWs. It's pulled away from Rob Nitro in the back. And still now, those two sets we were talking about earlier on of Dimitri and now Jim Wally, also under pressure from Andy Bob. So the Rob Huff-driven Chevrolet starting to attack the Seats now. It's looking much faster than the two little Seat Leons in front, but it just can't seem to get the power down early enough to pass them, especially whilst they're dueling away amongst themselves. However, Jim Wally going wide is only going to help the man just sat outside the top 10 at the moment as Andy Bob looks to somehow find a way through, but still no avail just yet. They dive down out of the apex. Jim Wally again, just a bit too wide as they go through barn corner. So we're fast approaching halfway through the race now. At number 5 of 14, here comes Andy Bob going to the inside. He should be on the outside again now as they go through the first corner of Coppice and in towards Charlie. He'll have to try and sweep it round, but it should be the powerful Chevrolet that wins this. Wall runs right to the edge of the track. Jim Wally fights back around the outside of Charlie's, and he just doesn't quite have the speed. It was a gallant effort, but Andy Bob's powerful Chevrolet just was too much going through there, and that's probably the best place to overtake on this circuit if you can get a run, exactly as Andy Bob did. So the Chevrolet now breaks into the top 10. Rob Nitro, the next one up in 7th, with Kobayashi in 6th, still sat behind the BMW of RK98. Noddy Racer, though, the highest placed Chevrolet at the moment, still now 6 seconds behind Alex Eugen Seat Leon, who's been pushing on absolutely brilliantly. But Eugen now down through out of the final corner. Noddy Racer 2nd, still WTTN in 3rd. Master Rocco in 4th, 5th place RK98. Kobayashi is in 6th place. Although it is starting to fight up again now, so Rob Nitro in 7th has actually given up almost on chasing Kobayashi 10 in his Chevrolet, and it's now Yardstick that's doing all of the chasing in the Seat. So we'll see if he can maybe get some developments on that. We're about 10 minutes into this race, 14 laps. We're on lap 7 at the moment, so approaching half race distance. Alex Jusian now 28 seconds away from these drivers. And Rob Nitro goes wide, as does Master Rocco. Master Rocco's off as he goes through Gooseneck and out of Mansfield, and he goes off the circuit down to 8th. Luckily all drivers missed him, but disaster strikes there for the set, and that's really put Kobayashi on the tail end of RK98, all over him now, swarming as they make their way through the barn, or the Hall Bend, I beg your pardon. It's very shortly making their way up through turn 11 and 12, now through Hall Bend, and that BMW getting very squiggly there, but Kobayashi doing everything he can to keep with him. Now just behind there, Rob Nitro, Yardstick. And now Master Rocco's got his mirrors full of the set. And Andy Bob again making progress. Now he was 10th. He's now 9th up the inside of Dimitri. A nice move there on the Seat. And the man who was 11th just a few laps ago, now on the verge of taking 8th place away from Master Rocco. But maybe not for long as Dimitri tries to push back. However, it just was not meant to be through there despite his finest efforts. A real shame. But we'll see if he can maybe just carry on into these final few moments. We've still got a lot of racing left here at Cadwell Park. This is by no means over, and these drivers have got to be aware of that. This is a long afternoon of racing, especially with a circuit as punishing as this one. And Dimitri has lost a lot of ground and has simply gifted Andy Bob a run to the back of Master Rocco. But that battle there, going on over P4, was just erupted in the last few laps. RK98, Kobayashi and Rob Nitro, the main protagonists, with Yardstick just out of reach at the moment, but keeping his nose very well and clear over Master Rocco. Woody races second, and Alex Jusian now the race leader still. 7 seconds clear, so he has gained a gain, a 1:29.7 that time round, a 1:29.6 for Noddy. So the Chevrolet was faster on lap number 8 out of 14. And we'll see if he can continue that momentum as we go on to lap 9 with WTTN in the Seats only about 4 seconds away. So he's not out of reach yet, WTTN, from a podium. The recently renamed WTTN is still in the hunt of a second position, maybe even a win. He's only 10 seconds away from Jusian up front. And there's still 6 laps of racing left to go. So anything can happen here at Cadwell Park. And when the circuit is punishing, chances are it probably will. We run through the order and getting a bit sidetracked there as RK98 just still maintained his progress. And as I was meant to be looking through the order, I was watching Kobayashi's lines, and he's playing it very, very carefully now, because obviously what he's trying to do is overtake RK98, and instead what he's having to do is try and differentiate lines to catch the BMW out. But it's very difficult when the circuit is only wide enough, really, for one car in the first place. So you can't start diving to the outside and the inside because you will just lose time. But he has gained a little, about 3 seconds, over Rob Nitro just behind. So Rob, Kobayashi, then RK98. STM third, Noddy Racer second, and Jusian still leading on lap 10 of 14 here in the 2011 World Touring Car Championship. Live from Cadwell Park, Andy Bob already making heaps of ground over Yardstick. He's now 8 seconds ahead of Master Rocco, just 6 away from Yardstick. And diving now once again into Mansfield corner, turn number 8. He is gaining dramatically quickly. That Chevrolet does have power here in the UK. Obviously being Rob Huff's home circuit as well. Maybe some of that patriotism carrying over through the Chevrolet name. Still, that war with Kobayashi, Rob Nitro and RK98 has still not found a winner. RK98 driving very defensively and very solidly as well. He's not really made many mistakes here today as they go through Coppice Corner for the 11th time. A 130.3 for him, 130.2 for Kobayashi, and the same for Rob Nitro. But it's still very easy saying 130s and 129s here and there, but you can make up the time, but you can lose it just as easy as you go to pass the other car. And I think that's what Kobayashi's doing. He's been so close yet so far, many, many times during this race. He's just trying to find a way through as they go in towards turn number 9 and turn again. Diving down now. And hang on a minute, Noddy Racer could be under a bit of pressure from WTTM. We said he could be in a 100th second. And the Seat has mounted a very aggressive charge onto the back of Noddy Racer. Through the hill bends they go in towards the hairpin at turn number 17. And that man has made bounds and bounds of progress over Noddy Racer. Over the apex they go in towards the hairpin. Noddy Racer is losing phenomenal amounts of time. He gets over the start-finish line. Let's just combine lap times and see if there has been maybe a mistake by Noddy Racer. A 130 flat to a 129.9, so only a 10th difference. You can't really blame it on that. But they make their way through Charlie's at turn number 3. Alex Jusian driving emphatically today in P1, lap number 12. He's only got 2.5 laps remaining before he's crowned a winner here in the World Touring Car Championship, and what a brilliant victory it would be as well. Miles behind, there's still many, many battles to be decided. We've only had one retirement, and that was Sharon after a lap 1 pit entry, and then realising that he's got to drive through, so he's pulled into the pits on lap number 2, not moved since. Sharon is out of the race. Noddy Racer and WTTN couldn't be embarking on a late battle here though. Did you say there's 2.5 laps to go? And that little Seat has pulled up a long, wrong way. It was about 5 seconds away last time we checked. He's now just 0.5 of a second away. Up through the chicane, up to the top of the hill, through the mountain, and in towards Hall Bends once again. Now, WTTN has just lit the pit button. I'm hoping he won't have to pit. That would be a real dampener on the race. Oh, and there's been some controversy. Yardsticks now to 6. We've lost Kobayashi. He's had a spin. He's lost the rear wing. Kobayashi in the yellow Chevrolet. Now that corner is, I believe, just going out of turn number 10 in towards the mountain section of the circuit. So he was fighting up there with, it was Rob Nitro and RK98, wasn't it? So there must have been some contact there. Yardstick in the Seat also mounting a late charge. So these Seats are driving brilliantly this afternoon to catch up to the big boys. And it's going to be a Seat that wins it as well if all goes well for Alex Jusian. He's led from pole and not really shown any signs of remorse ever since. Jusian has been driving brilliantly from start to finish. Jusian through, then WTTN, and Noddy Racer stopping third, racing out of fuel. He's only down to 30 miles an hour and decreasing. Going out through, oh, he's blown the engine. The engine is smoking. Noddy Racer is trickling down the order. The car is on fire. And the bright yellow Chevrolet of Oyoung is crawling around the circuit right at the start of the lap as well. Just making his way in towards the park straight as far as I'm aware. And there's no way that car is going to be rescued. And that's a real shame. The car stops. The smoke clouds rise. Noddy Racer, from what would have been a certain podium, is now a certain DNF and our second retirement of the afternoon. We said that anything can happen here at Cadwell. It normally does. Rob Nitro now mounting an assault on RK98. The desperation starting to set in as Yardstick pressures him, going down that start-finish straight again. Final lap of the race is underway. These boys now compete for a lot more. Your revised top 5 are Alex Jusian in first, WTTN second, RK98 third, followed by Rob Nitro and Yardstick in 4th and 5th. So 3rd, 4th and 5th, BMW, Chevrolet, Seat. Is that the way it's going to stay? Or are we going to see something amazing going in towards these last few moments? Because right now Rob Nitro's trying just about... Oh, he's been punted off Yardstick. Oh, he's in the barriers. And Yardstick collides with him. Rob Nitro in the Aluminium-driven Chevrolet goes careering so hard into those tyres. Yardstick's off as well. And a sigh of relief for the BMW of RK98. Andy Bob, who was 11th, is now 4th. We watched him made his way up to 8th position after passing Master Rocco. He's now up into 4th position. What a drive. Absolutely commendable stuff. But out of the way of his final corner comes Alex Jusian now up towards the start-finish line. Absolutely brilliant drive by the Seat Leon. Alex Jusian wins round 3 of the 2011 World Touring Car Championship. And it's a Seat 1-2 as WTTM brings his car over the line to join Jusian on the podium. Seat's 1 and 2. And it's going to be RK98 with a heavy sigh of relief for P3. Although he was even pressured by Andy Bob as well. So RK98 flashing his lights. He's happy with 3rd. Andy Bob crosses the line in a driver of the day worthy 4th. Master Rocco 5th. Dimitri in 6th. Jim Wally 7th. Tiptoe 8th. Yardstick 9th. And Rob Nitro off again in 10th. Is Sherback going to catch him in time or no? Rob Nitro is rejoining. Sherback is gaining. I don't think he's going to get there in time. Although Rob Nitro doesn't have a spoiler. It's 2 Chevrolets battling over the final top 10 position. Out of turn number 18 they go. Can Sherback pull alongside due to the lack of downforce that Nitro will have? The answer is no. Nitro clings on to a disappointing 10th. Sherback 11th. Noddy 12th. Kobayashi 13th. And Chatron at 14th. My goodness me, what a race that was. We will be right back with you for the 900 to 1100 skill quant. 3 more races on their way for you live here tonight on Simraceway. Hello everybody and welcome back live to qualify, or the closing of qualifying I should say, after realising the microphone was turned off for the past 9 minutes. So always handy when you're at the 2011 World Touring Car Championship live here from Cadwell Park. It's a 900 to 1100 B race at the moment, and it's currently Jip at 92, the fastest man on the circuit, but only by close to 500ths of a second. A Costa is the man just behind him. Lazarus 16, the first Chevrolet on the list, in third. Ragster in P4 in the Chevrolet. Then it's Engange in fifth. Sixth place the Flow. Seventh Raceway. Eighth place RT Met. Then it's Mr. PA. 10th place Luke Sky 80. 11th Diamondback. 12th Andre Passer, with the Magico and Renault still currently not set times at the moment. So be very interesting to see if they do get themselves back into this session with just over a minute remaining. Dimitri, the only driver to not set a time. And only, you can see a 1:29.6 and a 1:28.2, so 1.4 seconds separate the entire field here in the final 54 seconds. So still Jip at leads, but not by much at the moment. So 20 seconds left for drivers to try and set their times then. Jiffett still on circuit, trying to secure it. A Costa did get a bit closer. Not enough in the end. He's back in the pit lane. Lazarus third. Rax is back in the P4. Engange is now fifth. So the Flow sixth. Raceway seventh. Our team that's in eighth. PA ninth. Luke Sky in 10th. Down the checkered flag is out. So does Andre improve? No, he doesn't, from 12th. We've got Reno still on the lap as well. Still Jippet looking to improve. Oh, he's back in the pit, so Jippet returns to the pit lane. Lazarus still on a lap, as is Engange. In fact, oh, Engange dives into the pit, so Engange will not complete his lap. The Flow going towards the end of one, as is RT Met. So the new SPM team, which seems to have erupted, involving WTTN as well, sits him in 8th position. The car's going thick and fast over the start-finish line right now. Mr. PA will be one of the last drivers to set a lap time as he comes out of turn number 18. Down the final straight in his Seat. He's currently P9. Where will this lap feed in? There's a Chevy just behind him, and that Chevrolet belongs to Lazarus. The PA over the line stays 9th, and Lazarus stays 3rd. So it's Chippett from A Costa, Lazarus in 3rd, Ragster 4th, and Engange 5th. BMW from Seat from Chevrolet. We'll be right back very shortly. Hello everybody and welcome back live to radio coverage of the Simraceway World Touring Car Championship. 3 manufacturers racing around Cadwell Park and a full grid of cars as well. It's going to be one tremendous race to remember. The lights are set to go out. It's BMW from Seat from Chevy. How will that order stay as they go in towards Coppice Corner for the first time today? And we're away here, big start as well as they'll fly down towards the first corner. Jipper 92 in the lead of the race. And as they go through, Jipper, though, and the flows up to second. So a poor start by the Chevrolets as Lazarus tries to cling on from Raxter behind. Those 2 Chevys doing battle. PA is in 8th place. Stuck also behind 2 very large Chevrolets as they make their way down now up the park straight in towards turn number 3. A great slipstream opportunity right now, but Jipper has had a dream start to this 21 lap endeavour. But the flow and Acosta, let's just see what Acosta's got now. If he can't get to the inside, then he's going to really struggle there, isn't he? Through Mansfield to turn 8 they go, and down that little kink before going up in towards the mountain section of the circuit. And now you can see trying to go to the outside again. Then there's Lazarus, Raxter there as well. Raceway, Luke Sky, and Mr. PA all being held up there, in fact, very much so on lap number 1. Big lock up by D'Amatrico in 13th. Very tightly bunched in the heart of the field. And some big air there for Raceway as well. With Luke Sky trying to go all over, and that's over P7. That's Chevy versus Seat. Raceway driving the Tarquini Seat. Luke Sky and the bright yellow Chevrolet down the main straight for the first time. 20 laps to go. Jippet still leads, but the whole race has plenty more action to come. And the flow in second could be under a lot of pressure as well. The BMW slipping into the clutches of the 2 Chevys of both Lazarus and Raxter. Acosta clinging to the back of those also to round out the top 5. Then there's already 7 seconds back to Raceway, PA, Andre Parser, Diamondback, Ingange and Renault. So big start by the guys at the front of the field. None more so than Jippet either, because the man in the lead of the race has already got 5.7 seconds. The flow is there clinging on. Lazarus third, Raxter doing everything he can to stay in 4th. Over the curb they go at Mansfield's corner in towards turn number 9. A very tricky piece of tarmac before extending into the mountain section. Up they go, and Lazarus doing very well there to not lose the back end. He almost got a bit of a tap from the man in 4th. That's Raxter. Acosta just over a second behind as well. They're all literally attached by a bit of string, it looks like, as they go through the Hall bends. And oh, there's contact there! Oh, Raxter hits Lazarus. Both of them stay on the circuit, but Acosta uses that nimbility of the Seat to just slide through like a mouse into a very small nook in the middle of your house. Great positioning by the Seat, but Lazarus, with the sheer power of the Chevrolet, takes his position back. So at the end of lap number 2, Jippet, the flow, Lazarus, Acosta, Raxter, with Raceway and Luke Sky not too far away, and bringing the cavalry with them as well. Renault and D'Amatrico, 12th and 13th, going to have an almighty task on their hands to keep their places as they currently are. They're looking extremely racy in the early stages here at the British Circuit, Cadwell Park, where you can get for absolutely nothing on Simraceway, completely free of charge. Oh, and a big slide for Raxter. Can he catch it? Not quite in the wall. And it seemed like a bit of a noise there, didn't it? But, oh, Raxter's on, Diamondback's off, and it's dancing on ice. There's cars off left, right, and centre. One of the Seats was off there. That belongs to Raceway. But Raxter had possibly the craziest slide, completely all the way left, then all the way right, then backwards. And talking of backwards, there's a BMW in the wall. And that belongs to Andre Parser. Out of nowhere, this field has seemingly just got a surge. And oh, there's more contact Two Chevys spinning the whole bend. The elevation chain is, of course, a roadblock. It's like Dodgems down there. Reno, Engange, Ragster, RT Mets, Andre, Luke. Everyone is getting crazy down there. So, a very bizarre turn of events. I've never seen anything like it. I'm sure there could be a couple of penalties handed out after that one. It was like literally someone just poured a bucket of ice on the track. Maybe Simraceway taking part in the ALS challenge or something, but the drivers were simply driving on ice after that one. And Lazarus to the inside, but Four Wheels on the grass. That was never going to work through there, was it? The float maintained second. So the updated order as we start lap 4, Gippet, the flow. Lazarus, A. Costa, Mr. PA, Diamondback, Engange, Reno, My Raceway, Andre Parser, RT Mets, and Luke Sky. A very bizarre order at the moment, that's for sure, as Reno and Engange are not that far apart. The Seat chasing down the Chevrolet of Engange. Through the whole bends they go, and my goodness me, I cannot believe the amount of action we just saw at those corners. It is very difficult because these are designed for superbikes, and when you see a superbike like a Ducati or a Honda, and the way it just glides over the bumps, and you can see it on the TT or anything like that, and it will ride it over the bumps, you can lean into it. But with a car, because of the suspension and the way it's set up, you go for that bump and you literally get air. There's not much you can do at speeds of 120 miles an hour. Slight mistake, and the rest is history. And when a couple of cars do it, you see absolute mayhem. And Dimitri off the circuit there in 16th. Now that's a retirement, we believe. But this has been an extremely crazy first stint to the race, and hopefully the drivers settle down now. So we're about a quarter of the way through. Luke Sky heavy braking, just behind RT Mets, the two Chevys at the moment. Reno chasing Engange still. Closest battle on the circuit has got to be the battle for second, actually. The Flow and Lazarus 16. And Lazarus gearing up for what could be a big manoeuvre. Through the mountain section of the circuit they go before diving down into Hall. And those very tricky turns 14, 15 and 16. Left then, right then, left again. As you go into the hairpin and on two wheels there was the Flow, and I thought he was going to end up careering into the barrier, but luckily not quite just yet. Lazarus keeping him very closely in check though. And now going over the start-finish line, Lazarus just got a bit caught up on the outside of the circuit there, I think. So the Flow and Lazarus still second and third at the moment. Then just behind, actually, gaining a little A. Costa and Mr. Pierre. A. Costa more than most as the BMW and the Chevy do battle. The Flow barely clinging on at the moment. And the Spanish flag flying of Villa, you can just see Lazarus clinging on. A. Costa in P4 in the Seat, doing everything he can to stay with them. The Tiago Monteiro Seat Leo on that one is. So you've got three different manufacturers attacking the Cadwell Park circuit at the moment in second, third and fourth. Who will be able to take control of the reins of this battle remains to be seen. But last time we saw this, it was the BMW that came out on top. The very wide rear end of it. Of course, being a rear-wheel drive car, it can get the power down nice and quickly, but is that the race leader? No, it's not. Surely. It is. Chippert's out. Chippert has lost a rear wheel. Heavy impact with the barriers there. He says, damn, he's absolutely distraught. Chippert 92, the pole sitter and race leader by 11 seconds, is out of the race, meaning that the battle we were just talking about is now for the race lead. So Lazarus and the Flow are dueling away amongst each other, fighting for the race lead with just about everything to play for. This could be one of the biggest races of the weekend here. The tensions rise at Cadwell Park, and you can just about imagine how tricky it's got to be for these guys right now. They've got a long way to go, almost a third of the way through the flow to the inside there as they just come out of Gooseneck corner almost, or make their way in towards it. Akos has caught right up with them as well. They're really not that far away. So Lazo, then the flow, and Acosta with Acosta looking like he's going to mount the charge now. And again, 2 wheels through the Hall bends. These drivers really struggling for grip through there. An update on the rest of the field. It's PA, 3 seconds adrift in P4. Then Diamond back with the pit button lit, interestingly enough. He's going to set out on 2 wheels. And that was Reno. And he might as well have been a stuntman there. That was sensational. Seat from Chevy in the battle from 7th to 10th at the moment. And they are all line astern. That's Reno, SPM RT Mets, Raceway, and Luke Sky. And now to the inside comes RT Mets. He'll be on the outside for Coppice. Oh, he's done that beautifully, asserting the power of the Chevy round the outside to take the position. Now it's from Chevy, Seat and Chevy in that same battle with Luke Sky at the back of it. Oh, there's been contact there. Luke Sky's hit Night Raceway. And off he goes. There's some more contact there in the backfield with the flow, Acosta and Lazarus in reverse order, your top 3. So Lazarus completes another lap. He starts at number 9 with Acosta now second. Then it's the flow in third. So the Seat up into second. The BMW chasing with PA in fourth. Enganche now fifth. Then our teammates, Reno, Luke Sky, Raceway, Diamondback, Ragster, and our only retirement, Jippet, the pole sitter, after having an 11-second lead, he had to relinquish it after a wheel actually physically disembodied itself from the car. So big impact there for the BMW. We're glad he's okay. He's watching from the paddock at the moment, and I'm sure he'll be absolutely gutted about it. He knows he was quick at the inside. There goes the flow, pushing the Seat wide. We've just got a bit of information from our race administrator. There is a drive-through penalty for Luke Sky after 2 incidents with Raceway. One of them we spoke about earlier. The other one must have slipped through the radar. So Luke Sky does have a drive-through penalty. So it's been a sensational opening 9 laps of the race so far. Lazarus 4 seconds clear of Acosta, the flow and PA. Just behind those we've got Engange, RT Mats and Reno. And now to the inside is trying RT Mats, but to no avail. It's hard enough fitting one Chevy through some of these corners, let alone 2 of them. Sometimes a Chevrolet and a Seat is about as much as you can fit. Although, I think Nganou's got other ideas, moving very heavily to the defensive side of the line. And now can he get to the inside for RT Metzl? No. He's doing everything he can. Oh, and he's gone to the outside there, and he flashes his lights. He feels like he's being hard done by there, pushing the very edge of the circuit. And look how close these drivers are right now. RT Met's giving everything on the inside of Nganja. Two Chevys using all of the truck. They have to use more. Some of them with 2 wheels off at a time each. These corners close up so quickly. And the Chevrolet's very fast, discovering that down into Mansfield Bend. And RT Met's trying to assert himself. Up through the mountain section of the circuit go the two Chevrolets, bouncing around goes Nganja. Thought he was going to lose out big time there. Luckily he didn't. Renault's on the way though, and hoping that he can just maybe assert himself into this battle. Over the jump they go. And now another lap completed. 11 to go, and to the inside now goes RT Metz of Coppice Corner. The two are deadlocked side by side, and you can just see on the outside they have to sweep it right round. He's going to really struggle though to assert himself all the way through the very long corner of Charlie's just before the straight. They're still side by side, and Renault watches on, but I think Marty Metz has got it. He has a great overtaking manoeuvre. And now here comes Renault to the inside of Nganja, trying to punish him, and they make contact. And off go the two Chevrolets, and Renault says thank you very much. Slides through into the top 5. RT Metz is now 6th, Nganja is now 7th, in what was a very bizarre turn of events. Renault, Mr. P8, the Flow, Acosta and Lazarus. But my goodness me, I think it's just nice to take a breather after all the action we've seen so far, because this has been relentless. An update on retirement, it's Ragster, then Jippet, then DiMaggio. And also Dimitri as well. So retirements Dimitri, DiMaggio, Jippet and Ragster, with Diamondback our last remaining driver in 11th. Luke Sky, 9 Raceway, Nganja, RT Metz, who's put in a blinding performance so far. A bit of contact earlier on though. He's trying to get himself to the inside, but no avail actually. The nimble set has somehow been a domineering presence through the tight and twisty turns of Cadwell Park. And now heavy on the brakes out through the mountain section. Renault looking like he's might be succumbing to the pressure very shortly. Pit button lit there for 9 Raceway. So could this be a stop? I mean, we're about halfway through the race, so it wouldn't surprise me. We're just over halfway, in fact. So it could well be a late stop for 9 Raceway. Some of these drivers should have been doing no stoppers since this is touring car racing, but there are always some who just feel more comfortable. And Renault's gone wide, and now RT Metz is going to slide through. Indeed he does. So RT Metz up to P5 due to a Renault mistake, which makes overtaking a lot easier when you don't have to be trying to force a way through for a hole that isn't there. The Chevrolet does not have to worry about that anymore and can now focus on trying to get back some of the 40 seconds that Mr. PA now has. Lazarus, on the other hand, is now on his almost 14th lap of the race. He's done incredibly well. He's about 58 seconds ahead of that battle we were talking about. Lazarus in the Chevrolet at the moment, ahead of Acosta, then the Flow, then PA, and then RT Metz. So Lazarus just going out of the final corner to start his 14th lap of the race in his Chevrolet. So some brilliant driving there so far. A short little run through of the order at the moment. Our team at still with that pit button lit up. Nye Raceway didn't pit as the update there, so there has been no stop yet for Nye Raceway. And Garn 8th, Luke Sky 9th. The battling all seems to have come to a bit of a standstill at the moment. Although the two Chevrolets there, actually, of Luke Sky and Garn, are starting to get a little more. Oh, and Garner's blown the engine! Garner's blown the engine! It's a second Chevrolet that has had a blown engine here today in third gear. And it's at the same corner as well. Ganj. That is extremely weird. Is there a fault with these Chevrolet cars? Ganj out of the race then. Just as the battle was heating up, the car spontaneously caught fire. So he was battling up with the other Chevrolets earlier on. He's now out of the race. Big disappointment, 3/4 into a 21-lap race. He really will be feeling unfortunate about that one. And he's actually left the gain out of Lazarus. Hang on a minute, Lazarus is out of the race as well. Lazarus, is that the same problem? It's another Chevrolet. It could well be. Lazarus out of the race, which puts A. Costa, the Seat, into the lead. And of the flow, PA, RT Mets and Reno rounding out your top 5. What a dramatic turn of events. So A. Costa, the flow, PA, RT Mets, Reno and Nye Raceway, the updated top 6 after what has been one of the most mind-boggling races in recent Sim Raceway history. The best part is we've still got another 2 races coming up for you, and one of those features a reverse grid based off of qualifying results. So that really will be something fantastic to watch a bit later on. The Nye Raceway and Reno, the 2 sats, are now 5th and 6th. Nye Raceway, Reno and PA in 3rd, the flow in 2nd, A. Costa in the lead of the race at the moment in the Seat. He will feel like a very lucky driver right now, 5 seconds ahead of the BMW. So Costa, the flow, PA, RT Max at the moment, but RT Max still with that pit button lit, which is still bizarre. No damage to that Chevrolet though. And now those two sets starting to get very, very close together. Reno and Nye Raceway, that's over the final top 5 spot. They make their way through Mansfield Corner now. Nye Raceway doing all of the chasing on the back of Reno. And now in towards the mountain part of the circuit again. The headlights are on, trying to intimidate Reno. And now gliding over the curbs at Hall Bend. And Nye Raceway's got to get it slowed down. It's not only difficult when you're in a car like the Seat, but when you're in a draft as well and you've got dirty air going over the bonnet, it can become extremely difficult to keep it pointing in a straight line. So over the start-finish line again for lap number 17 out of the 21 given to us here today. And Nye Raceway has got to find something a little more prestigious than what he's got right now. Although he's gone to the inside, actually flashing his lights to make his intentions double clear. Not a good apex to do it on. He's going to lose the inside line. Almost hits Reno. And Night Raceway goes back in front. And Luke Sky now chasing to see what he's got. And Luke Sky still barely able to cling onto the back. Now that Chevy's got to try and push his way through before that momentum shifts balance once again, and Night Raceway can get back onto the rear end of Reno through mountains and up in towards Hall Bends. Oh, it's caught fire again! Another Chevrolet! I don't believe that's 4 cars in 2 races. Reno runs right and loses a position. And Luke Sky is out of the race. That is absolutely bedazzling. So that's another Chevrolet exploding here today. So Diamond, right, let's go through the only Chevrolets we've got left then. We're lap 18 of 21. It goes Seat, then BMW, then Seat, then Chevrolet. So our next Chevrolet is RT Metz. Then after that, 2 more Seats, and that, other than Andre Parser, who stopped on the entrance of the pit lane. So Andre Parser in the pits. Other than that, that's pretty much it for the moment. So there's only a couple of Chevrolets left in this race, and you're going to be keeping a very close eye on them. There's only 4 laps left. The last thing you want is to see any more. So RT Metz, then Night Raceway and Reno. And I'm just a little bit stuck. I'm trying to work out what it is that's causing these Chevrolets to catch fire or for the engines to blow up, because the BMWs or the Seats aren't having it. It must be to do with the rev meters. But either way, these cars being pushed to their absolute limits, the pit button still being lit. Oh, and again, that's going a bit wide there of Costa, but with a 20-second gap now back to the car in second. He's not really going to be too bothered, I shouldn't imagine. What he's going to want to do is now slowly glide it home. So then PA third. Then RT Metz, then Night Raceway, then Reno, Andre Parser, Diamondback. And another car into the pits now, 2 actually, so the Flow and Mr. PA. So both on different laps, so the Flow being the race leaders come in, and Mr. PA as well. Now hold on, this is for position, they're only 2 seconds apart. Now this has just shaped the entire basis of the race, so the Flow comes out of the pits. How far away is he? Because now RT Metz is in the lead of the race. From what I can assume, RT Metz is in the lead of the race with 2 laps to go and has not stopped. So has there been a fuel miscalculation there for the Flow, or has RT Metz still got to stop at the end of this lap? Either way, we'll find out the answer to the question very, very shortly. But it's RT Metz in the lead with the Flow in second, with Reno third, Costa in fourth, and Night Raceway in P5. As it stands, at least anyway, Night Raceway still got to pit. We assume, no, it has! Another Chevrolet! Diamondback is on fire! Diamondback has blown his engine. Another Chevrolet has caught fire. We've got 1 left, and that car's the race leader. It's only going to hold on for just 1.5 more laps. and it's going to be a race winner. Is it going to have the same manufacturer fate or no? Is our team going to be able to cling on to whatever life that Chevrolet has got left? Because surely there can't be that much. There's some sort of underlying issue with these 2011 World Touring cars. The only thing I can think of is that going through Hall Bends, they're going at top revs, and as soon as you hit back on the floor again and the car slams against the tarmac, it's damaging the engine, or it's damaging some part of the radiator or something like that. The car is getting overly hot as you're stuck at these high revs. Final lap of the race underway. RT-Max has not pitted, so stolen the lead from the flow, and he may have just stolen fate as well if he can stay like this. This has been one of the bizarrest races I think I've ever witnessed. Every Chevrolet bar one is out of the race. For just a minute and a half or so before we crown ourselves a winner for round 3 of the 900 to 1100 B race, round 3 in the World Touring Car Championship. And it looks like it's going to be RT-Max. So he's just making his way through the halfway point in the circuit, out of Mansfield's corner. The Flow in second, Renault in third, A Costa in P4, and Mr. PA in P5. So through Hall one more time, still no explosion just yet. He's got 2 more corners to go. And RT-Max is going to be crowned the winner here at Cadwell Park. Out of the final corner he goes. The car has held on just about. RT-Max steals a victory for SPM. What a drive in the Chevrolet. We'll be delighted with that one. Round 3 of the World Touring Car Championship goes to him. The Flow in the BMW takes second. Renault gets third. What a result there for the Seat. So 3 different manufacturers on the podium. 4th place will be A Costa. Disappointed he had to pit, but it is still a good result. 5th My Raceway, Pierre, beg your pardon. 6th My Raceway in the 2 Seats. 7th Andre Parser. 8th Diamondback. 9th Luke Sky. 10th Lazarus. 11th Engange. 12th Ragster. 13th Gifford. And 14th the Magico. So what a race that was. RT-Max winner again here in Simraceway. But Chevrolets have underlying issues as we go into the main double-header race of the night. Coming up next is the A race of the 900 to 1100. Hello everybody and welcome back live to coverage of your Simraceway World Touring Car Championship. As we said earlier, 3 manufacturers. We've got a full grid of drivers and a reverse grid to come later on. So this qualifying will deserve, I think, a special mention as well because of what it implies and what the future holds for this. This does not just decide the grid for race 1, it decides the grid for race number 2. So currently, whilst Van Panther leads the series in terms of qualifying, he will start the second race from the back of the grid if he finishes on pole position. So it's a brilliant new incentive here in Simraceway, and in turn we've seen some cracking racing in the series. So as it stands, it's a BMW Van Panther from Devil Bevin Seat, then Sean 24, G Cortese, Puma, Graufinkel, AG06, then the Chevrolet B13 at the moment. Still not separated by much either. 0.3 of a second though is the lead between first and second. So Van Panther's really found his stride here at this Cadwell Park circuit. Although he's gone a bit wide there, and in fact may have impeded his lap, but 0.3 over Devil Bevin. There's a 1:27.6 from him, a 1:27.7 from Sean, a 27.8 from Cortese in the Chevrolet Cruze, and a 1:27.9 from Puma. So they're all pretty much a tenth of a part the more you go down the field. Then into the 28s, and the rest of the drivers still haven't set times. They include the Flow, Dimitris Giannopoulos, and Dimitri. All still currently in the pit lane, have not set times yet. And bear in mind, we have just seen some very, very strange scenario involving the Chevrolet Cruze. 3 cars have spontaneously, I say combusted, but the engines have blown up. It's happened so many times now. We've seen at least 5 cars go out of race number 2. So I'm really, really hoping that doesn't continue here today. We've got a lot of Chevys in the field. It's all about the attrition rate. And I don't think these cars are the most reliable when put under intensive strain. They're powerhouse cars. They're not designed for these little agile circuits where they can be thrown around like the Seats. So if you're used to throwing around a little Seat Leon and you try it with this Chevrolet, the tyres are going to be run ragged, the engine gets hot, the radiator could get damaged, and you never know what could happen next. So more cars taken to the circuit at the moment. And the Flow and Night Raceway still not set a time. Oh, and Paul, the Flow, I think it must have, yeah, what's the Flow? Had a bit of an incident there. That's a real shame. These BMWs also seem to be struggling for grip. Van Panther had a bit of an incident going out of the final corner, and he's now got to restart his lap again with only a minute and a half left. I think he may just get round. So Van Panther's now got himself 0.3 of a second, with Puma exceeding his way out to second in the same black and orange car, which the black and orange BMW has been used by him, I think, every race this season, actually. And Devil Bev in 3rd, Sean 24 4th, Cortese in 5th, AG06 in 6th, Graufinkel 7th, Feckinara in 8th, B13 in 9th, and Dimitri in P10. So Dimitri Giannopoulos. So it's a 2 Dimitri. We have Dimitri's 1, and we'll call him Keyboard Wizard Dimitri because this man, oh, maybe not such a wizard now. He's just done about 4 barrel rolls going into the Hall bends. So end of the qualifying session there for him. So Dimitri's back in the pits. We're going out again, so obviously just wants the track time at the moment. Pit lane being very busy, actually. 2 cars scrambling to get out, and especially towards the back end of that circuit. Out of the final couple of corners, Van Panther over the line. He does get to set a lap time, so he's flashing his lights. He wants Dimitri out of the way, and he just gets there in time. Well, Dimitri will not get a chance to set a lap. Renault did not either. Night Raceway won't. The checkered flag is out in qualifying now. So it's now just a case of who these drivers are going to maybe top Van Panther, because he's a man on a mission at the moment. Puma's the only one that can realistically do it. He won't have enough time to set, though. Here comes Devil Bevan. He's 0.3 of a second away. He needs 8,000s to beat Puma. Can he do it? No, he can't. And the Seat stays in third. And that brings the close almost to this qualifying session. We're waiting for B1 306 to finish his time. He's just going through Mansfield's now. So B13 rises through the mountain section. And now through Hall Bend, and again struggling there. No, he's actually come off, so the Alamanu Chevy again struggling. Nye Raceway's finished his lap. I think this is going to be a closure on the session. The only other cars out there have already finished their time as far as I'm aware. So yes, Van Panther is now your pole sitter. So Van Panther 127.3, 3/10 faster than Puma. Devil Bevan narrowly missing out on the second row of, or the first row of the grid, with Sean 24 in fourth and Cortese in P5. We'll be right back with you for the first of our double headers. It means the pole sitter for race 2 is going to be the Chevrolet Cruze of Luke Sky 80, with Renault in second. So here we go then, the third round of your Simraceway World Touring Car Championship about to get underway. No, so we just had a warm-up restart, so it'll just be a second. Some last-minute adjustments to be had, it seems. So a run through the order again: Van Panther from Puma, then Devil Bevin, Sean, and G Cortese. Yeah, so here we go then. Quickly give you the grid and the cars. This is the first of two races, 15 laps apiece for the World Touring Car Championship. It's Van Panther that's on pole position in his BMW, from the BMW of Puma in second. Devil Bevin sits in third place. Fourth place is Sean. Fifth, Cortese. The very narrow start to Cadwell Park means the drivers are going to really struggle getting through the opening couple of corners unscathed, it seems. Here we'll see what they're made of just 1 second before the four red lights come on. Here we go then. Van Panther on the inside. Puma trying to sweep it round. Green flag racing here at Cadwell Park for the first of two races. And Puma's got off to a fairly good start in second, trying to wrap it right around the outside. He's been forced to the outside of the circuit there, but still not quite where he wants to be as they dive through in towards turn number 2. Down and up they go, coming out of turn 2 through Charlie's and onto the Park Straight. So it's a BMW 1, 2, 3 and 4 at the moment, with AG06 in 4th, Devil Bevin the first of the Seats lining up in 5th. We've got Cortese going around the outside of Graufindl there, that's in 6th and 7th. And Cortese on the grass, actually, that's not where he needs to be. Graufindl holds his line very assertively and in turn keeps his position. There's some heavy braking as they make their way into Mansfield Corner. Diving over the apex they go for the first time. Still no casualties. Been a very calm first lap here by the World Touring Car field here today. And Puma's now into the lead. So Van Panther's made a mistake because he's now almost down to third. In fact, Sean 24 is looking to try and even punish him for it as well. And someone's not the bollard off, but I think that was Puma. So it's still a BMW 1, 2, 3, 4, almost 5 there as Devil Bevin under pressure again, but Cortese maintaining his ground just there. So we come towards the end of lap 1. Puma started second, now in the lead. Van Panther lines up behind him. Then Sean, AG06, Devil Bevin, Graufindl, Cortese, B13, Dimitris Giannopoulos, The Flow, Reno, and then over the line last, My Raceway, Luke Sky, and Freccianera round out your 14-car field for this race. The Puma, then Van Panther, then Sean and AG06 at the moment as Devil Bevin tries to move to the inside at the moment. Can he get there on time? Oh, bit of contact, but nothing too abrasive. And Devil Bevin barely holds on to 4th place as he makes his way past the Beamer to break up the BMW 1, 2, 3, 4. So AGO, then Cortese battling as well. That's over 5th and 6th. Cortese trying to move to the inside with the Chevrolet. And now actually there's a bit of battling and argy-bargy behind there. It's Cortese overtakes Giannopoulos, and who's that? Devil Bevin's off! Devil Bevin's off in the Seat. That's not what he wanted. He's now down for P10 as right to the end of that drain. There's now the Graufindl group as they go over the line. Beamer from Beamer, Chevy, Seat, Chevy, and then the flow in ninth, Double Bevan Intenso all the way up to 4th place, are battling in that long train on lap 3 of 15 here. Although now AGO6 is trying to hold on very, very carefully against B13. Can he get there or no? B13 to the outside. Still no avail just yet. The Chevy trying to duck all over the BMW to find a way through. And really is being put through its paces. The Seat not too far behind either, with Cortese in 8th place, just lining up, waiting for the opportunity to arise. The two Swiss-driven cars there. The Seat number 1 of Nick Jarre, the other one of Alan Menu. And now flying over the bumps again through the bend. It's so difficult now for these drivers to keep themselves pointing in the right direction. But Cortese doing everything in his power to push through B13. 2 equal Chevy power. It's not exactly easily done. Very wide cars. And through Coppice Corner again. Big look up there by Grauffindel, who's leading the Grauffindel group currently. With AGO6 there just behind, then B13, and obviously Cortese, who we were just talking about a moment ago. Behind him we've got the Flow, who's sunk all the way down after what unfortunately was a bit of an unfortunate start there. But still, current race leader is Puma, then Van Panther in the BMW. Sean also only about, from what I can gather, 6 seconds away from the race leader at this stage. Grauffindel 4th, then AGO6, B13 in 6th. Cortese there as well, and the cars shuffle around. We've got Reno and Nye Raceway. Those two were actually duelling in the B race earlier on, now find themselves being hammer and tong once again, so it's the last thing they wanted, I'm pretty sure. By the way, they've caught right up to the back of Luke Sky's Chevrolet, which isn't seeming to make as much progress as it would like. Nonetheless, so the drivers continue their charge up the mountain. Luke's having to defend extremely hard to keep those drivers at bay. And once again, another slight error there for Dimitris Giannopoulos. And now Luke's guy doing just about all his power to keep that part just ahead of his fellow competitors at the moment. The two red and white Seats of Reno and Nye Raceway look to continue their fight up the field as well, but Cortese and B13A6 are really not that far adrift. In fact, they're only a couple of tenths, and they're looking at the two BMWs ahead of them as well, Grauffindel and AGO6. B13 under pressure now from Cortese to the outside as they go through the park, straight into park corner at turn 4. On the inside is B13. Cortese luckily runs onto the apex of the corner, very wide curbing there, and he was able to catch onto it nicely to not lose any ground. He does lose a position. Cortese down to 7th in the Chevrolet, looking to fight back as B13 sets his sights on the two BMWs ahead of him. And the two Beamers looking to try actually catch the ones in front. So it's now a BMW 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as B13 looks to try and break the trend and overtake AGO6. However, it's not exactly an easy task around a circuit this demanding. We're about a third of the way through the racing at the moment. 5 laps completed. The man who started from the inside, Puma, he started second, of course, and now is leading the charge ahead of Van Panther. So he's got ahead of the pole sitter. And there shouldn't be any pit stops either. So it's all about now, can Puma just retain its advantage? Obviously the reverse grid in race 2, you never know what sort of incidents or mystery the race holds. You've got to try and make sure you capitalise and take all the chances when they're offered to you. You cannot lose any ground here at Cadwell Park, because you will soon regret it going into round 4 of the championship in just a weekend's time. So the drivers nearing the end of their World Touring Car run, and then we'll let you know just what we've got planned after that, because we've got some really brilliant racing and championships lined up over the closing stages of 2014 here in Simraceway. It has been simply a fantastic year so far. We've seen stuff from the New Year's Championship, the Donington Championship, and now the World Touring Car Championship. Brilliant racing this year, a massive stride for Simraceway, and now we get to take it just one step further. So Puma still leads as he comes towards the end of lap number 6. It's all about the bus of traffic that's going on behind there as AGO and B13 still locked in that warfare as they go through the Hall Bends once again. Oh, and there's been another clash. It's the same corner. Who's lost the wheel? It is Puma. The same corner has stricken a BMW again. I cannot believe it. 2 races in a row. Puma out of the race. The black and orange BMW has lost the front left wheel from what I can hear. It is the front left wheel. The number 5, the man who started from second, took the lead out of the race just before going out of turn number 17. And now the BMWs have got to try and capitalise. So Van Panther, thanks to that endeavour, has now got himself a whopping 7-second lead over Sean 24. Then it's Grant Findle, then AGO6 and B1A3. So but AGO6 ahead of B13, then Cortati, and Devil Bevan's caught right up on these. We saw this in the previous race as well. We approach a halfway stage, and the Seat seemed to have this sort of mid-race surge, where it's almost like a turbo button rises its way onto the steering wheel, and before you know it, they just have lightning pace around this undulating Cadwell Park circuit. Devil Bevan looked extremely feisty as he tries to attack the cars in front. AGO6 has made a dismal error as Cortese goes through. So the Chevy's overtaken the BMW. It's now Van Panther's BMW ahead of Sean's BMW, then Graf Findle's BMW, and then the first Chevrolet. The cars that have had plenty of drama here this weekend. Over 6 retirements from blown engines, and what the Chevrolet has seen so far. Hopefully the same fate does not strike here today. But history's already repeated itself regarding blown up BMWs, or at least a wheel coming off them at least. And now Devil Bevan looks to try and move his Seat a bit further forward past the BMW of AGO6. It's already made a fantastic charge up through the field. It's now just got a bit far left, a bit more to try and make his way in towards the top 5 places. And Devil Bevan now up through the Hall Bends once again. He's still looking pretty intense right now. You can, Dimitri Giannopoulos is retired, and Simraceway's very own keyboard king is out of the race, and that's a real shame. I think a lot of people were expecting some big things for him here today, and they just haven't quite been delivered in his set. He will be disappointed, but we all know Dimitri. He'll be fighting back before you know it. The next round of the championship, no doubt in my mind about that whatsoever. Very, very competitive driver, and don't forget the reverse grid as well. I think he qualified about 7th or 8th, so should be fairly well placed going into the reverse grid round of the championship. And he's provided to be such a catalyst for excitement as well, these reverse grids during race number 2. They've given us plenty of entertainment in the past, and we're sure that's only going to continue here today. Devil Bevan and AGO still very close, and the Seat just can't find a way through just yet. I don't think it's going to stay that way for much longer though, as the Seat's a lot easier to overtake with than a big wide BMW you have to throw around. It's almost like a rally car, the Seat. It's very, very nimble, hence why it's such a dominant presence in both British Touring Car and World Touring Car. Of course, numerous championships in British Touring Car Championship. I remember a few years ago actually watching how crazily good they were. I think back in '07 in the World Touring Car Championships as well. Seat do have a very strong presence here, and you can see why many of the circuits they go to, they may get outran by the Chevrolets and BMWs, but you come to a circuit as undulating and as physically demanding as this, you want agility and you want speed, and that is exactly what the Seat does. It's the equivalent of a Porsche in terms of GT racing or something like that. It's just sheer speed and agility. You can throw it round corners, really attack with it, as opposed to really lug it round. It's not a heavy car, it's very light, meaning it's plenty of fun to drive and very expressive for the drivers as they try and overtake, which is exactly what Devil Bevin's trying to have a look for now, as we are on lap 10 and 15 here in the first race of 2 here at Cadwell Park. Always to the inside there, tried Devil Bevin, but not quite going to get it going through there despite his best efforts. He almost got cut off completely there as he made his way out of the gooseneck. That could have been very traumatic indeed. So he's very lucky he didn't actually make any contact whatsoever there. And here comes Devil, making his way through the mountain section. Bit of a look-up on the left rear, but it shouldn't affect his race too badly, I shouldn't imagine. Although he's still behind at the moment. A run through of the order then, as we have 5 laps remaining here at Cadwell Park. Van Panther from Sean, Grauffindel in 3rd, 4th place B1386, 5th place G Cortese, 6th place AG06, 7th Devil Bevin, 8th place The Flow, 9th Luke Sky, 10th is Reno at the moment. But the fastest man on the circuit, very predictably, is the pole sitter Van Panther, streets ahead of many other people, just not really challenging whatsoever. No one can seem to get their game on around him. And now there's not long left in this race, and the tension's definitely starting to build. You can see that by the way these Chevrolets are making their way through, and just listen to the onboard and the engines starting to maybe sound a little bit ill. We're 11 laps in, so about 15 minutes worth of racing is what we've had. And Cortese just needs a little bit more to make his way past his fellow Chevrolet driver, B1386. And he's just not quite close enough at this moment in time. In fact, he almost went a bit wide there as well, didn't he? Over the start-finish straight again they go. 127.495 that time for Cortese, a 127.7 for B1386, a 128 flat for Grauffindel, Sean a 128.1, Van Panther back in the 127s. Cortese now under pressure, but as is AG06, I think Devil Bevin getting very close in the battle for 6th position at the moment. The laps are ticking by, the corners are disappearing, and the Seat Leon is looking extremely handy right now. But it's just whether he can muster up enough momentum or force AG06 into an error, or maybe offline, just an unintentional nudge or anything like that. It's not exactly a big ask. But AG06 very, very consistent at driving here today. Rising through the mountain part of the section again. And this is where he's going to have to try and get all his advantage. Down through the Hall bends once again. And Devil Bevin is looking like he's getting deeper, but all it takes is one slight mistake through there. And that's race over then. You're just clattering in to the side of your opponent. Oh, we've got a car. Oh, Graufindel's off. Grafindel from P3 now down to 7th, which means the AGO6 Devil Bevin battle is now for 5th place. We've got the Chevys battling for a podium position. Although, hang on, Devil Bevin's got the pit button lit, so lap 13, he's maybe going to be heading down pit road very late on here. But Cortese now really attacking B13. I think now since he's got a sniff of a podium, he's simply come alive at the moment. Oh, he got very close now, going into turn number 18 again. B13 is not me. Oh, he's got on the grass slightly, and Cortese's feeling it. Penultimate lap of the race. This is where drivers turn into heroes and heroes turn into legends. The Chevrolet boys will be dueling extremely hard over the next 3 minutes or so to determine which one of them, if any, are going to end up on the podium, or if there will be an error and end up giving the position to Devil Bevin in the Seat, who lingers about 10 seconds adrift now in P5. The Luke Sky down in 9th. Reno and Raceway, those two Seats have been together all race long in 10th and 11th. That does not look to have changed as they go through the first corner. Still line astern, tracing each other's lines like they're figure skaters and really just being so close to each other. But Van Panther now leads Sean with B13 in 3rd and Cortese challenging extremely close behind him now. Devil Bevin, big look up there, and I'm surprised actually after getting through AGO6 that he's pulled away as much as he has. We knew the Seat was quick, but after making the move, I think we missed it. We were looking at what was going on elsewhere in the field or trying to keep you updated anyway. But he's dispersed AGO6 in the BMW and now finds his way into the top 5 and looking extremely good for some solid points in the first round of 2 here today. So Van Panther still leads on the final lap then. Only a minute and 20 seconds separate that man from a pole position, the fastest lap and the win. He has been sensational in this championship and his form looks to continue. Sean 24 in 2nd. 3rd place is B13. 4th is Cortese, now opens up to the outside. Can he sweep it round? He's going for the move. It's now or never. Final lap of the race. He's on the grass and he can't make it. B13 fends it off. The sweat will be dripping down his visor. B13 has got to cling on for dear life. They make their way now, braking heavily in towards Mansfield Corner at turn 8. Half the lap down, half the lap to go. Cortese pressuring, giving as much as he can. But is it going to be enough? That's the question. Has he done enough to pass? Or has B13 defended like a champion? And Van Panther now comes out of the final corner. And this is going to be it over the start finish straight. A pole position, a fastest lap, and a win for Van Panther. His great streak in this championship continues. Sean 24 takes 2nd. What a drive there for him. A brilliant effort to BMW 1-2. B13 does take 3rd from Cortese. Only just, they were side by side. The B13 heads the field. Cortese straight back into the paddock, ready for the next race. Devil Bevin 5th, AGO6 in 6th place, so big race there for Devil. Grafindel in 7th, The Flow in 8th, 9th Luke Sky, 10th Raceway, 11th Fraccionera. A dodgy, unfortunate last lap there for Reno. He slips down another position, down to 12th, and Dimitri and Puma are 2 retirements. But a great drive from Van Panther means himself and Puma will be starting from 14th and 13th for race number 2 with the qualifying reverse grid. From myself, Liam Jenkins, I will see you all very, very shortly for the climax of round 3 of our race weekend. So here we go then, 15 more laps of the Cadwell Park circuit and a complete reverse grid. Sees Luke Sky 80 start from pole with Reno in second, Raceway in third, Dimitris Giannopoulos in P4 as we wait for the red lights to illuminate. Race winner Van Panther at the back of the grid because he got pole position as well, but a big start by the flow on the inside from fifth. He's taken the lead from fifth to first. An exceptional start by the flow. They're almost three wide as they go through turn one. It's never going to work. We've got a 3 or 4 cars off into the background as they approach Charlie's corner. I think Frekinara's had a spin as well. Sean 24's okay. Cortese got the brunt of it. Where is Van Panther? The answer is he's 6th already. So Van Panther really making a charge through his field now into 5th. Dimitri's having to fight as well. Where is Puma? Is he even in this race still? I don't think he's actually returned. We've had a bit of contact there. Devil Bevan in the Seat has gone off from P11. And now Cortese and AGO6 doing battle again. We've seen that battle before today. And hopefully it will be just as exciting as the last time these two met. But the flow now through Mansfield at turn number 8. Keeps his head above water at the moment with Luke Sky pushing in second. And as we say, Luke Sky developed into a very quick midfield driver, has done a brilliant job here in the World Touring Car Championship. Very, very suited to every car he's driven. His best performance, I think, coming from the BMWs. Now moving into the Chevys and chasing down the BMW of the flows. 1.4 seconds away at the moment through Hall's Bend. Let's keep a camera here just in case we see any cars go rallycross over the curbs. It's all seemingly okay for the moment. They're all through unscathed, and towards the end of lap number 1, it is still the flow that leads after what was the start of the year. It's got to be. No other word for it. It was simply brilliant. Luke Sky stayed in second with B13A6 in third, Reno 4th, Van Panther in P5. P6, of course, is Dimitri Giannopoulos, 7th Raceway, 8th AGO6, 9th Cortese, 10th Grauffindel, 11th Sean 24, 12th Frekinara, 13th Devil Bevan, and they round out your cars for now. And look at that, as Reno trying to overtake Van Panther, the race winner from last time. And Van Panther spun it, oh, and the race winner spins, and he's taken the keyboard king, Dimitri Giannopoulos, with him. He's down to where he started, P11 for Van Panther after a win and a pole in race 1. His race 2 fortunes don't look to have the same fate. So a real shame there for him. Hopefully he can get it sorted a bit later on. We know he's got the pace. He's arguably the fastest man on the circuit at the moment. So he'll be back at the front of the field at some stage, just a case of when. Hopefully it could be a bit too little too late though for some of the other drivers, because they're really hoping they can take full advantage of this and get themselves as far away as they can before the return of Van Panther comes into play. And now over the start-finish straight once again. Cortese following AGO6 about 1.3 seconds away. But my goodness me, the amount of people that are in that train right now. I'll quickly give you an update as to who it involves. It's Reno that leads. So the Reno Riot is running its way around Cadwell Park. Devil Bevan retires. But it's Reno, Raceway, then AGO6 side by side. But Cortese's in the air. And he's lost the front right-hand wheel. He was side by side with the Seat, and I think he just clipped the inside of the barrier, went careering into the air, and he's really not happy with that one. It's the end of the race for the Chevrolet FG Cortese on lap number 3. He will be bitterly, bitterly disappointed with that one. And we know he'll be back for the races a bit later on. But even so, a real shame to end race number 3. He was looking pretty competitive during race number 1, but Raceway now leads the charge from second all the way down. You've got Reno, then the Flow, then AGO6, Grauffindel and Sean, all the way down to 7th from second to 6 cars, dueling away at the moment with B13 a whopping 12 seconds clear of the man in 7th. So a big start there for B13. Now the question is, the Flow down to P4 has made a bit of a boo-boo somewhere, because that's back to where he started. He was in the lead a moment ago, and he's now down right in the heart of that pack. So the Flow fourth, then AGO. Oh, he's in the wall! So another BMW off, and AGO 6 is seemingly carrying the luck of the Chevrolets today. That BMW in the wall, and AGO 6, I'm assuming that's retirement. There's the wheel rolling across the circuit. It's going to hit his car. Yes, it does. So he's been hit by his own wheel, which is never a sight you want to see as a racing driver. And now Renault under a lot of pressure from the Flow as well, so looking to recuperate from his earlier mistake. The Flow now fourth. Needs to try and push his way back into the podium positions. He's in a prime position to do so into Mansfield corner, straight at, oh, he's played it beautifully, straight up the inside. Sign seal delivered. The Flow moves on without a shadow of a doubt. And the Flow now looks like he's in a much, much more comfortable environment. He's at the forefront of the action in that train, and he shouldn't be there for too much longer before we start honing in on 9 Raceway, on lap number 4 of 15 here at Cadwell Park today. And through they go. Just taking a look at the drivers that are in that pack as well. It's all getting very argy-bargy as Renault still running the riot. AGO 6 is retired, so over the line come that group of cars again, or well, the gaggle at the moment is very uncoordinated as Sean goes up to the insides of Coppice corner, throws it all the way round. He's got it done before. So Sean 24 moves up into 4th place. A good start there for him. And now going up the park straight, Renault, I'm not sure if he's got an issue or he's just not as quick, but it's not where he needs to be at all. He's got to try and find something before all of that speed runs out, because there's an more enormous gaggle of cars that want to pass him, and it's only going to increase over time, because in the very background of your picture now, you can start to see the cars that are just about 10th and 11th. And Renault just about keeping his head in the game at this stage, but you've got to wonder how long he will be there, with Graf Findel breathing down his neck. Van Panther's there as well, so the man who was down to 11th started at the back of the field, moved his way forward, then back down there he went again after a bit of a problem, and now finds himself right at the forefront of the action in that midfield, and that's what not many drivers wanted to see. They had to be very wary of that one. And now Van Panther trying to push his way back through. We'll keep an eye on the progress of the race 1 winner. If you can get 2 from 2, that is an Asa O'Connor type drive, one of the Simraceway heroes, isn't it? As they career their way up in towards the very, very tricky hairpin. Graf Findel on the outside. Van Panther positioning his car very nice. He's been blocked by a set on the outside. He's got a BMW to his inside. He's going to play this very, very cautiously. So let's see what he can do. Can he slide to the inside through here? Not quite. As they begin the run down into Mansfield's. Up through the mountain, parts of the track they go. Graf Findel still maintaining his composure at the moment. Ahead of Van Panther, the fastest man on the circuit. Bit of an off earlier, brought Dimitri Giannopoulos with him. Now recovered to 7th place. He's already made giant leaps in his charge for glory. But through the very difficult hairpin at the bottom of those nimble little curves, out of the final corner at turn 18. Trying to get to the outside, but the cars are way too wide to try anything like that. To the inside he goes, and let's see what Van Panther's capable of now. Can he move his way to the inside or no? He rides the apex of Coppice in towards Charlie's. Very heavily defended by Graf Findel as we approach the halfway stage. Miraculous drive so far. He's going to have to do just a little bit more than that before it's race over. He needs to get him, so he's 43 seconds away from the leader at the moment. It doesn't matter how fast you are. If you're driving like that, it's not going to be enough. To the inside, Van Panther goes. He's only going to be gaining a few tenths a second at this rate, even maybe not that. With 3 cars still line of cern, and Reno trying to pull away with everything he can before it's too late. He knows if Van Panther goes on the assault, he can take full advantage of that and start making up some ground before it's too late. It's just going to be slightly difficult to do, is the only problem. Although taking a look, they go through the bottom now on the exit towards turn number 18. Still no real advantage gained there for Renault at the moment. Grafindel, in fact, trying to turn his attention to what's in front of him rather than worrying about what's going up from behind. And now making their way up through Park once again. Van Panther trying to go to the inside into Park corner of turn 4. He's got the inside line. He's charging through. Reno's there. He's got to be careful. But here comes Van Panther for P6. They're side by side, almost trading paint. He's got the car slowed down in time in 3rd gear. And he's got the position done. A masterful move by a masterful driver there. Big, big move for Van Panther. He's got to try and keep this level of driving out, because if he doesn't, he's not going to get the points he wants out of this. Although he's already on the back of Reno, taking a look at pin of argy-bargy there as well, and that could have been disastrous. Especially that part of the circuit through Hall's Bend once again in towards turn 17. We're over halfway through this race right now. And the drivers starting to eye up their targets. And now even Luke Sky 80 in the Chevrolet has joined this fight. So that really is interesting now then. We've got plenty more action to come in this race. In fact, another 6 or 7 laps to go. 7 laps it is. 9 laps completed out of the 15. And now Van Panther to the inside of Reno, the exact same place where he overtook Grafindel just a lap ago. He'll be on the outside of the corner this time by, though. Can he get there or no? Sweeps it round, cuts off the Seat, and job done. Van Panther's drive continues up into the top 5 now. Although I think Reno's going to be careful because Grafindel and Luke Sky both want a bit of the action now before it's too late. But a run through the order as it stands, we come towards the end of lap number 9, B13, with a stem 23-second advantage over Night Racer right now in the Chevrolet. So it's B1386 that leads onto lap number 10. Night Raceway second, with Sean in third, just about a second away. The Flows BMW sits fourth, ahead of Van Panther. Reno sixth, just ahead of Grafindel and Luke Sky. Then Fracchionera 9th, Dimitri 10th, out of the race, AGO 6th, and Cortese round out all of your runners for the race so far. So B13 ahead of Night Raceway, then Sean, then the Flow, then Van Panther. Still a lot of action left, as we say, in this one. I don't think this one's going to be as maybe widely anticipated as many thought. It won't be this singular run to the end for these drivers. They've got a lot to work with here. If they want to come home across the line in a very good position, they've got to work for it. Grafindel does work for it up the inside, and he's just about made it stick. The Reno comes back on the counter. The inside following through turn number 6, but it's not enough, and he's now going to be careful because he could very well fall victim to Luke Sky if he's not careful. So now the haze of Reno may be coming to an end. He's got to work on this and find a way to find the balance between speed and composure, because at this rate, there's only going to end in one way, and that's going to be him sailing down the order faster than you can say Seat Leon. So there's still plenty of time left, though, for these drivers to try and make their way through and get themselves into a good position. And talking of good position, We said Van Panda was pulling away as he approached the top 5, but with 5 laps to go, he's now only 1.3 seconds away from a 4th place finish, so really pushing on nicely right now. And a little bit of a war forming towards the end of that battle as well. As we said before, Van Panda's passed the flow out of nowhere. So I was then taking a look at what Reino was doing as Luke Sky looks to mount a bit of a charge. And Van Panther up to 4th, 8 seconds away is Sean. Can he get 2 podiums from 2 races despite starting at the back of the grid? For 2 races, getting a win, a podium and a pole position and a fastest lap is not a bad effort at all, is it? If he can get it done. He's about 8 seconds away at the moment. He's just entering the mountain part of the circuit before the Hall bends. There's very tight left and right-handers just before the end of the circuit. 7 seconds. We'll give you an update on lap times as well as they come through. A 1:27.8 for your race leader. It'll be Night Raceway the Seat that comes over next. And we'll see what sort of lap time that Seat Leon can produce. I can remember for a 1:28.7. It's a 1:28.9. A 1:27.9 for Sean 24. And for Van Panther, a 1:27.6. He's reeling him in like a fisherman right now. Can he keep it going? Has he got enough before the end of the race? We're only going to find out in one way. And now Van Panther heavily braking. 6 seconds away at the moment. He's really not that far behind Sean 24, but only a few laps remaining before we call it a day here. And now trying to just keep an eye on what B13 is doing, because his pace right now is going to be very key. This could be the lap time we need to watch, because if Van Panther's lapping faster, then Sean 24 has got a hell of a problem on his hands. It's a 1:28.1 for the leading Chevrolet. The Seat just, oh no, and this could be good news come better for Van Panther, because Night Raceway has made a mistake. Night Raceway is 3 seconds clear of Sean 24. A 1:28.9 for Night Raceway, a 1:28.2 for Sean, and a 1:28.7 for Van Panther. So he's dropped time there, actually. So Van's got a little bit of work to do. It's B13, Night Raceway, Sean and Van Panther, P1, 2, 3 and 4 at the moment, with the Flow in 5th, Ralph Findle in 6th, Reino in 7th, and Luke Sky in 8th. Still chasing down the Seat as we have about 3 laps of racing left to go here today. Don't forget, if you do want to get in touch with us as well, in terms of social media, we do have the great Facebook page as normal, facebook.com/Simraceway. We have some lovely, lovely cars being posted, a great community as well. There's also a chance for you to see the work in progress that the guys make and keep up to date with the real-life Jim Russell F3 series, as well as our Instagram, which you can see plenty of our work in progress pictures. So that's just at Simraceway on Instagram. You can also enter the hashtag SRW Picky competition, where you take your favourite in-game screenshots, take them onto Instagram, and you can win a $2.50 gift voucher, absolutely free of charge, to spend in-game on whatever you please. And if you're a Twitter person as well, then be sure to give us a follow or ask us any questions at Simraceway, or my personal Twitter at LiamJenkins21. I'm sure we'll answer all your queries about the Simraceway game and what you can do, what's available as we go into the final round of the championship, and the 4th and final manufacturer gets revealed, that is Volvo. So 4 manufacturers, 1 final round, 1 defining champion. It'll be a championship and a live stream next weekend you do not want to miss, because it is going to be simply fantastic. So since we've last updated you on the order, Sean 24 has passed Night Raceway who's now falling into the clutches of Van Panther. So it's a BMW chasing down a Seat now. What can Van Panther do? The B13 out of the turn 17 and 18 complex now. And it's going to be one last lunge for him then. Chevrolet's been a bit inconsistent here tonight. We've seen some retirements earlier on, including 6 blown engines. The only thing that will be blown, though, is B13 A6's trumpets as he goes over the start-finish line in celebration of what could be a victory today. He's really not that far away. He's just about a minute and a half away. To B13 in towards turn 3. Sean 24 second. Raceway third. Van Panther is 1.4 away. He has been on an absolute charge. It's like he's just opened up another turbocharge in that car. He's flying around Cadwell Park. Is there enough for him to get a podium or no? Let's find out. He's not too far adrift at the moment. Through turn 4 he goes, making his way through the double apex right-hander out of the long spoon section of the circuit and makes his way downhill, so undulating this Cadwell Park. And now he's all over the back now, going in towards Mansfield. He goes to the inside and Raceway blocks with everything he has. He knows he's going to hold on to this podium. Van Panther given 110% out there right now. He wants a podium and a victory, but we've got to take a look at B13. Goes out of the corner. It will be a win for Chevrolet. Almost lost control, but B13 wins round 2 of the 3rd race in the calendar of the Simraceway 2011 World Touring Car Championship. B13, you are a winner. Sean 24 is going to come through to take 2nd. Is Raceway going to take 3rd? Let's take a wild stab and see. He flashes his lights. He knows he's done it. Sean takes 2nd. Raceway holds off the charging Van Panther, who will be growling after that result, that's for sure. 3rd and 4th after the crash earlier on there, which sent him down to 11th. He won't be too disappointed. 5th place for the Flow. 6th place Graufindel. 7th Luke Sky. 8th is Renault. 9th Frechianera. Out of the race are Demetrius, AG06 and G Cortese, with Devil Bevin, your last retirement, and that came on lap number 2 of 15. So a massive thank you to all of the drivers that took part today. I know the live stream hasn't exactly been as entertaining as normal without our cameramen. They've all been a bit occupied, unfortunately. That sometimes happens, that prior commitments do come first. But I hope the radio stream has not been too bad for you today, and that you've managed to get a good idea of what went down at Cadwell Park. We hope you'll join us next weekend for the finale of your Simraceway 2011 World Touring Car Championship at the circuit where I made my commentary debut at Brands Hatch, where you'll see the Seat Leon, the BMW 320, the Chevrolet Cruze, and the brand new Volvo C30. From myself, Liam Jenkins, thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you next time.